All right. Hello, everyone. This is Cassandra here at PGI. We are going to go ahead and get started with our Ezlynx Management System training. I know a lot of you guys have been attending all of our other trainings today, so I appreciate you joining in and staying engaged. I also have Trini here with me, who's another trainer as well. She will be monitoring the chat feature, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and type those in. And we'll just go ahead and get started and dive right in. So earlier today we talked about the functions of Ezlynx. There are two major functions. One is your comparative rater, and the second is your agency management system. So we're going to talk about the agency management system for everything today. And you can really think of that as your electronic filing cabinet. And also even your CRM. It's going to be where you house all of your client files, where you're going to add all of your policies to making sure you're getting out paid correctly on those policies, where you're going to house all of your documents for E&O protection. It also has a built-in Ezlynx e-signature feature. And also it has a really good way in your agency workspace to keep up with things happening inside of your agency. Setting up tasks for yourself, setting up reminders, anything like that. And then also if we have some time at the end, we'll go over some additional features, maybe talk a little bit about reports or the communication center as well. All right, so by now, all of you guys are familiar with how to quote in the system, how to add clients. So right now, we're just going to pick up kind of where we left off. So, let's say hypothetically we sold a policy directly in the carrier website. And so now we're ready to go ahead and enter that information into Ezlynx. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and open up a client profile here. All right, and here you guys will be pretty familiar with the overview at this point. So what I'd like to do is, let's say, it looks like I already sold their auto policy. So let's go ahead and say that I just sold their home as well. They just closed on their home, so now we want to get this policy added into the system. So right here from the overview, about halfway down on the screen, we'll go ahead and go to Policies and hit this blue icon to add policy. It's going to be the same thing as usual inside of Ezlynx. Everything that's starred, highlighted, maybe arrowed in red is going to be the required information for moving forward. However, there is one item here that is not highlighted in red that still needs to be added. So it's going to ask for some very basic policy information. Because really what we're looking to do is we're going to work within what carriers call downloads. So the majority of your carriers you work with participate in downloads. Essentially what happens is when you write and bind a policy with the carrier, they are going to have a file that they are going to submit into our Ezlynx account, which we've already set up on our end for all of our PGI agents. And that download is going to house all of that information on the policy. Policy numbers, coverages, drivers, VIN numbers, essentially everything you need to know for that policy. So, there's a couple different ways that we can think about downloads. Typically if you have already quoted somebody in the system and that download has enough information to look up a client inside of Ezlynx, pretty typically they're going to find that match. However, we do have a lot of times where if there's no client profile created and there's no shell of the policy created, which we're going to refer to adding this new policy as the shell of the client file, then if that policy download doesn't know where to go to, it will actually go into an unmatched folder in our home office that we have to manually go and match those items. We get hundreds a day. It could take a really long time. So to help ensure that you're getting paid out in a timely manner and that those downloads are connecting, we do recommend that you add this policy shell within 24 hours of binding that policy. So here we're going to come in and answer these few questions. So let's say, we sold that home policy. It's a new business transaction, so if it were a renewal, policy change, reinstatement, we can change that transaction type. However, now with carriers that do participate in downloads, as long as that initial new business download has come through, any changes that happen directly on the carrier website are automatically going to be updated. So you really, as long as they participate in downloads, you don't need to worry about doing renewals and policy changes. That's all going to happen automatically. It's a really nice kind of administrative time saver for us as agents. So I'm going to go ahead and add a policy number in here. Let's go ahead and say that the effective date is today. We'll have expiration date pre-populate a year from now. We're going to go ahead and select our master company. You know, we want to maintain that multi-policy discount, so we'll go ahead and say we sold that with Travelers. The writing company, it's not highlighted in red. You guys really don't need to worry about that. We've gone in on our end and mapped out all of the writing companies underneath each master company. We'll go ahead and select the billing type as direct. We've got the state of Colorado. Now here, you'll notice too that original producer code. Now this is not highlighted in red. However, this is what the commissions department connects and identifies your policies that you've written. So if something comes through and we need to help identify, you know, which user it belongs to, so we know who's getting paid out correctly, we need to know what code it's written under. So please make sure to always add in that original producer code. We'll go ahead and add the written premium. That will pre-populate full term and annual premium. Now here you'll see some features called estimated fees, taxes, and total commission. We are currently in beta testing with the accounting feature of Ezlynx. It is not fully live and fully up and functioning. It is not the system that our commissions department uses to track all of the commissions either. So again, I would maybe not worry about it. It is still reportable information, so if you do want to start adding your own manual entries here, you can, but just know the home office does not use these features as of right now, which may change in the future. You'll also see here service team member. So for those of you working under our Premier Plus program, it's definitely very important that you get with your personal lines trainer to talk about making sure you're within target business and that they are coded correctly in Ezlynx. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you know, talk with either your principal agent or with your personal lines trainer and they'll get you on the same page. You can also add a description here. And from here, there are two options. You can either add policy or add an edit policy. Now, we've talked about downloads, but it's important to note that not every carrier participates in downloads. So we do have a carrier matrix of everyone that does participate. So, you know, ask your trainer, or actually may even attach that at the end of our training to this webinar here. But if they do participate, all you have to do is just hit add policy. If they don't participate and you need to add additional information about the policy, like coverages and vehicles and drivers and things like that, you will need to add an edit policy. But Travelers is a company that does participate, so all we need to do is add policy. All right, and then it shows up in the system here. You'll see that there is a couple options that we have on the right-hand side. Actions, if we need to go in and change any information about this. If you do get the policy number wrong, you will have to delete the entire entry and re-enter a new one if the policy number is incorrect. You'll see here for forms that this is grayed out. And the reason for that is that download that we mentioned has not come through yet. But hypothetically, once the download does come through, you'll see this forms option available. And this is actually a built-in Accord form library inside of Ezlynx that will pre-populate all of the information. So, you know, let's say, for instance, we wanted to get an insurance binder, you know, maybe we need a cancellation form or ID cards, you know, whatever the situation calls for, we can click on that specific form and it'll pre-populate all the information in here for us. Now, this is just a test account, so you may not see all of the total information in here, but this will pre-populate everything about your agency, coverages, all that good stuff. Anything in here is also editable, so if you need to make adjustments or whatever you need to do, this is a really cool feature inside of Ezlynx. All right, so now that we have the policy added into the system within that 24-hour time frame, we will want to make sure that that download comes through and matches to the correct place. Now, it does happen where you may have a duplicate account created, maybe if there's something off about the premium or policy number. all you have to do is you can merge two policies together. So I always recommend always retaining the downloaded policy. So what you can do is if you double click into the policy here or from the policies tab, you can look at the source as manual or downloaded. That's a really good way to ensure that when you do have to merge policies that you're retaining the downloaded entry. Again, that will save you time because that's where renewals, policy changes, rewrites, anything like that is going to automatically come through. All right, so now that we've got the policies in the system, we're waiting for that download. You can also track your downloads from your home page too. Earlier you saw with Jason too all the different little dashboard icons that you can see, and one of them is download. So this is where you can track all of your downloads and make sure that they're coming in correctly. I'm going to hop back into my client profile. And now what I'm going to need to do is make sure that I'm getting my documents into the system. So again, the first and foremost is your signed and dated application. Always, always, always retain those signatures. You're also going to want to add anything else that's relevant to the policy. Proof of discounts, maybe if you're required to get copies of the vehicle or, photocopy of their driver's license, an international license, good student discount, so copy of the report card. Maybe a signed medical rejection coverage form. Anything that you would require to be, that the carrier would require information on, you're going to want to make sure you add this right here in your Documents tab. So it's real quick and easy. You can upload any sort of file type into the system. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and add an upload. Let's say, I downloaded that application right from the carrier website, and I want to go ahead and I want to utilize Ezlynx for my e-signature program. Now, there is the option in the majority of the carrier websites to utilize their own e-signature program. So that's really up to the discretion of your agency and how you want to handle those e-signatures. Me personally, I like to keep everything in the same location. I don't like to have to go track and hunt down all these different e-signatures through all these different carrier websites. Sometimes it can be a really big pain tracking those down too. So I tend to just like to use Ezlynx in general. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select that test application. Maybe I want to identify that this is the home application. I can associate it with a specific policy, so I know which one is the auto and which one's the home. And I'll just go ahead and hit upload. Again, you can add any sort of file type, whether it's an image, a Word document, a PDF, JPEG file. You can upload all of those. However, in order to utilize the e-signature, it will have to be a PDF file, which is convenient because that's what all carriers download as. All right, so now we have our document we can retain in here. It's always going to be protected in here. It is a cloud-based program, so even if anything happens to the hardware of your computer, all of your information is going to be secure and protected and still there from any web browser or device. Also, if you want to email right from here, you want to preview, download the document, anything that you need to do, you can do right under here under Actions. So then we're going to go ahead and create our e-signature envelope. So right here from this blue icon, we'll just go ahead and create e-signature. I'm going to select which application I'd like to use. This happens quite a bit. If you guys ever notice that you can't see the icon to hit next, just expand it. Maybe you'll even need to go as far as zooming out a little bit. That will always help, but that's something I know a lot of people run into. So we'll just hit next. We'll give it a title. You can add a reference number and a password, although neither of them are necessary. So you can hit no for required password. It'll automatically expire in 30 days and send them a notification when they have 5 days left to sign it, although they should be getting it back pretty soon. If you have multiple documents you've selected, you can change the order in which they'll receive them. So then we'll just hit next. Now, it'll pre-populate the client's name and email address based on their profile. So I always encourage you to add those email addresses. There's a lot of cool features in Ezlynx you can use that for, so it will pre-populate. You can also add additional recipients or even add yourself as the producing agent. But for now, I just want to use the example here. You can add a note to the recipient. However, I think it's a little unnecessary. The signing is really straightforward, which you'll see here in just a second. We'll keep going to next. This is going to populate the actual full document. So this is where we're going to add any one of these little icons here. So we want to make sure that we have either their actual custom signature with the mouse cursor, or just a typed signature, initial, date, timestamp, whatever it needs to be. So we'll just go through and review the entire application. This is just hypothetical, so clearly this is not an application in an Accord 36 form. But let's go ahead and let's take the typed signature. I'm going to click on the greenish blue little icon there and hit anywhere on this page that I want it to be. So you can move this around, edit it, whatever you need to do, make it bigger, smaller. If you want to change the recipients, if you have multiple recipients, this is where you would do it. So make sure you're on the correct one when you're going through the document. I also want to add the date here as well. I can make that there. All right, so this looks good. This is where I want all my signatures. So I'm going to hit review and send. It's going to take me through the document one more time and verify all the information that needs to be there. So this looks good to me, so I'll go ahead and hit the email icon and send that off. All right, and it's been sent. All right, so you'll see here under my e-signature items, I have one completed for the auto, and I still have one out pending for my home application. All right, we'll hop right into my email. I can see that, that the recipients have been notified that the document's available for them to sign. And then now I can go ahead and begin signing. So this will be client-facing, what they'll see. So we'll just tap the blue hyperlink. It'll introduce them to AssureSign by Ezlynx, a little welcome. We'll just hit continue, agree to the terms and conditions after we've obviously thoroughly read through all of it like we do for all of these things, and just hit sign. Type in my signature. I always do that too. It'll pre-populate the date in there for you, so just hit continue until I'm finished. And now the document will become available for me to download. So that's the client too. So if they'd like to keep a copy for their records, they have the ability to right there. Now, however, for the agent, nothing else is left to do because it will automatically update for you. So once I go ahead and hit refresh, now that the client signed it, it'll change that status from pending to completed. And now again, this is always where that signed document is going to be housed. So if a carrier requests to send them a signed application, you can just email it right over to them from here. All right, so I'm going to take a pause for a moment and see if we have any questions. Let's see. Trini looks like she's been staying on top of it, so I think we're good. Unless you guys have any questions, I'll kind of keep trekking along and talk about some other items here in the management system you can utilize. Okay. All right. So now we have our policies in the system. We have all of our documents retained. Another item that we'd like to do is make sure that we're following up on all of our tasks. You know, let's say that this person maybe also had some toys that they wanted to get insured, but they didn't have enough time. You know, their home policy was up for renewal. They wanted to take care of it right then and there, but maybe they're going on vacation and they want you to follow up with them again maybe in 2 or 3 weeks when they're ready to talk about their toys and possibly an umbrella. So we want to make sure that we're following up with them. I'm definitely very organized. I hate clutter. I hate things on my desk, so I like to do everything electronically. So we have all of our icons here. These four icons, well, really these three icons, are what Ezlynx refers to as the agency workspace. So this is a way for us to keep track of all of the things happening inside of our agency. So the very first one is add a note. So I'm going to go ahead and add a note to this client's profile. I'm going to give it a discussion title. Maybe I'll call it, toys quote. Going on vacay. Call in 2 weeks to quote. All right, so now if I just add the note and hit save, all that's going to do is just simply add a note under their activity tab of their profile. However, there's a lot of other things that we can do with all these icons down here. This first one is we can add a task. There's actually an action we want to perform, so I want to follow up on this. I want to select a due date in 2 weeks from now. You can also assign it to other people if you're the principal agent in your agency. So if you want to change who this is assigned to, you can. We'll go ahead and set in 2 weeks. We can even take it a step further and do set a time. Maybe we wanted to do 9 a.m. Now this checklist is actually a new feature too. So if we want to make this task part of a checklist, there will be more to come on that in our next newsletter too. That is a cool little additional feature. But right now, let's get out of those. We can also set a reminder. So if you wanted to send yourself an email or a text message or even a notification being this little bell icon, you'll see here I have a blue circle with 6 notifications in it. Again, it's really just like any other social media account like Facebook or LinkedIn. Shows you just basic activities happening inside of your agency. So maybe I just want to get an email on that day and time. Again, 3 p.m., that's way too late. Maybe I want my notification even an hour earlier at 8 a.m. You can set multiple reminders. If you're the kind of person who sets like 3 alarm clocks in the morning like I do too, you can set a bunch of those. You can also add labels. These are a way to organize the way that you've communicated with your clients. I've also seen people get really creative with this as well. Maybe they wanted to track all claims coming through a certain natural disaster. They've created their own custom labels. So anything that you want to do here is just a really good organizational tool. I think about it kind of like a hashtag too, if you want to categorize certain things. You can also toggle your sticky note. So this will literally put a yellow sticky note right on the overview page of your client's profile. You can add attachments directly to this, to the note itself. You can associate with a particular policy. So again, this is a separate quote, so I don't necessarily need to associate it. But if this document were relevant to the auto policy or the home policy, you can associate those. If you have multiple people in your organization and maybe you want your boss to see all the activity that's happening with them, you can add that person as a follower to that particular task. Here, this little briefcase icon, create opportunity, that is a part of the sales center. So again, those 2 additional a la carte features of Ezlynx, sales center and retention center, which we're not going to go over today. But if you are interested, just reach out to your personal lines trainer. We can get a demo set up to see if that's something that you're interested in. So that's what this icon is creating new opportunity inside of sales center. All right, so now I've got it exactly the way I want it, so I'm just going to hit save. Also, this little, you can pin this workspace, and that way once you pin it, you can keep this little icon open and you can navigate around the system, and it will keep this open. All right, so now we're right back on the overview. I can see that I have one sticky note and one task upcoming for that particular client. So, let's say, for instance, 2 weeks have passed. I quoted their toys, and I bound the policy, also with Travelers. So I want to go ahead and close out all of my stuff. So here I'm just going to X out, unsticky this note. This does not remove the task, just the sticky note. I can also track all of their activities. So I can see that I have one created. Toys quote. So these are all the notes historically for that client. So it will document everything historic. You can even go to the system log. This will show you literally every single thing that's happened with that client from when they were first created. So again, if there were ever an E&O exposure, this would be the first place that anybody comes to look at all the activity happening with that client, what documents have been retained, what changes have been made, anything like that. And then also, so, down the road, once you start getting multiple tasks assigned to yourself or that have been assigned to you, you want to start making sure that you're following up on all of those and that you're prioritizing them. So the second icon in the agency workspace is your task list. So this will categorize all of your tasks and they'll organize it by overdue, due today, and upcoming. And then there's also a section for no assigned due date. So that way you can stay on top of them. But let's see, I've got one upcoming. So this is the one where it's been 2 weeks. So I want to pop this open by just clicking into it. I'm going to change the status. Let's move this little icon here. I'm going to change the status here from open to completed. I'm just going to say I sold their boat policy, maybe with Travelers. And now I'm just going to hit save. So now that will disappear from my task list. I no longer need to follow up on that. And then, so now you will also have, and if you click into these two, you'll see everything that happened with that particular task. So you can see when it was created and when it's been closed. The third icon, your notifications, again, if you've set up text messaging through your agency, you can see all the texting that's happening. One that's really important here to remember is that this will oftentimes how the home office will communicate with our agents. So if we ever get any sort of documentation that is intended for you or your client, we will go ahead and upload that document into your client's profile and send you either a task or a notification, depending on the relevant piece of info, and we'll send it to you through a notification. So please, please, please make sure you're checking on those and getting all of your necessary documents, especially when it comes to things like underwriting notices under the house code or anything like that. Now, some of you may also see this little icon for workflows. This is actually part of what Ezlynx calls the Automation Center. So the Automation Center can set up specific triggers to set something else to happen. So a really good example of that was you could create essentially a welcome email for your agency, and maybe that trigger would be that every time you get a download for a new business policy, it will trigger that welcome email to automatically go out every time that download happens. So that will take a little, it will require a little bit of knowledge on working in workflows, Automation Center, email campaigns. So if you need some assistance there, contact your personal lines trainer. We may even have a little bit of time to go over that today. We'll kind of take a look and see where we're at. But those, again, are your agency workspace. So I definitely encourage you to use the system to its fullest. Really stay on top of everything. Make sure you're retaining all of your business and communicating internally to your staff and also, your agents and clients. All right, I'm going to pause and take a moment here to see if we have any questions as well. All right, and I think we're good. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and keep moving right along. Let's see here. We've got overview, policies, details, quotes. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with that. Another one that maybe some agents aren't utilizing is lead info. This can be really helpful information, especially when it comes to tracking your clients and your prospects. There are things that you can do outside of the sales center that will really help you start to identify where your leads are coming from, and which ones are the most important to work first. So there are certain things you can do, like tracking the source, the lead source, where that came from, the lead priority or the probability of sale, who it's assigned to, and what the status is. If you stay up to date on those, again, you can really utilize the system as also a CRM. Also, you can customize these lead sources too. So, Ezlynx has their pre-filled built-in ones, but if you ever want to customize them, maybe if you work with a specific mortgage broker, a real estate agent, you can come over here to the settings and you can manage your lead sources. So if you know you're never going to use any of these, you can hide them from the drop-down, or you can add your own custom lead source. So that way, when you go back into your client's profile, you can really identify where that came from. And it's also really important because those are reportable fields. Maybe if you wanted to take a look at all of the leads or prospects that have a high lead priority and a high probability of sale, and see where those lead sources are particularly coming from, that's a really good indicator where you should be spending your time. What's going to be the best return on investment for your agency. It does kind of trip people up sometimes too, so you do have to hit edit, that edit icon, before you can go in and change this information. You can also track the information about the policy that was sold, and then you can just go ahead and hit save. You'll also see here on this page is tracking for consumer quoting portal information. Ezlynx has two features that are of no additional cost that are already built into the program for us, and that's consumer quoting and client center. So consumer quoting is a link that you can embed in your website or your business Facebook page, or maybe even your email signature. You'll have to set it up with Ezlynx support team. They'll send you the link for it, and then you can put it anywhere that you want to. And it will be an icon, like a Get a Quote Now icon you can put right on your website. There's a couple different versions of it too. Always the one that I suggest is that you can get, your clients will click into it. They'll fill out all of the basic information that it takes to get a quote back. And it'll add them as a lead or a prospect into Ezlynx. And then it'll send you a notification saying that you have a new lead prospect in the system. So then at that point you can reach out to them, quote them, do whatever you need to do. There is also the other option of them actually getting an Ezlynx quote back with the information that they input. It can be really challenging sometimes, if clients come in with a particular price in their mind, because we know that these quotes inside of Ezlynx are prior to any MVR clue reporting, which is all done on the carrier website. So it gets a little bit tricky. If that is a route you want to take, you certainly can. I typically tend to just them add their information and let me know that I've got it so I can work that lead. Now the second is also the client center. So the client center is literally a client-facing portal for your clients to go in and do some very, very basic servicing. If they need to print ID cards, request certain information, look up a policy, but more than anything, it's just a way for them to electronically communicate with you that they need some assistance. So again, they'll also send you a notification that your client's requesting some information. I have some agents who really like it, some who think it's unnecessary because typically when they sell a policy with a carrier, they're going to get another login to that particular carrier's own system, so it's a little too much to keep track of. But it, again, is a nice feature that's linked to whatever email address you have filed in Ezlynx for them. So again, those two features are out of no cost. They're already built in. So if you want to get set up with those, again, those are things you have to set up through the support team at Ezlynx. So either reach out to us here or contact Ezlynx directly to get some assistance. Another feature that is also included inside of Ezlynx is something that typically is at an additional cost per email, but that we've negotiated as an aggregator for you guys to be at no additional charge, is email campaigns. So I really do like the email campaigns. It's a way for you to reach out and communicate to your clients on a number of different things. They're totally customizable, or they also have their own pre-filled content. So those are really helpful, not only just reaching out to your clients on a regular basis, but also, maybe for E&O protection purposes, making sure you're offering things like flood insurance to your clients. So the most important part to remember about that, if you do decide you want to set up an Ezlynx email campaign, maybe your principal agent put you in charge of marketing and reaching out to those clients, you can start to utilize Ezlynx for that. So the very first thing that you want to do is to identify your target audience through a report. So this is a way to get you introduced into the reports. There's all kinds of reports you can run in Ezlynx. So depending on the permissions you have as your user, you'll see this little report icon. You'll see several different categories, from activities to your book of business, to tracking your policy management, your quotes, anything like that. But if we're talking about in terms of the email campaigns, what we'll first need to do is create an applicant report. Again, the applicant report is going to identify our target audience. You'll have to bear with me a little bit too. My reports run for all of PGI, so it does take a little while to run. So let's take a look and maybe see if we can get a report that works for us. If not, I've got a test one here for us. There's a lot of pre-made reports here inside Ezlynx. So if we wanted to see an applicant detail report of all of our applicants in the system, maybe we wanted to do a birthday, so we can run a report on everyone with a birthday in the next upcoming month. Maybe we wanted to see leads, just leads in the system, or maybe just leads with an email address, because obviously you need to have their email address in the system to use the email campaign function. Agency customers with no policy detail. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff. A really fun one that I like is a cross-sell opportunity in your book of business. So that will actually identify clients in the system with only one line of business. So again, definitely encourage you to take a look at all of these reports. But for now, let's go ahead and, let's say we want to do a birthday campaign. So we would run that birthday detailed report. I don't know if it's going to run for us. But once you've ran that report for your target audience, you will need to use that little floppy disk icon and save the report before you can use it inside of the email campaign. And quite honestly, I don't even really want to wait for that, but let's just let's take a look at that saved report. Once you click save, then it'll be in all of your saved reports. So if you wanted to take a look at your saved reports, you can go all reports. On the right hand side, it will show you all of your ones that have previously been saved. Again, we do have a lot harder time with it. They have to pull all the data before it can individualize it. So hypothetically, let's say we've got that report. We've got everyone with a birthday coming up next month, and we want to send them that birthday campaign. We'll come over here to the Communication Center, and let's go ahead and start a new campaign. Again, this is where we're going to identify the recipients by selecting that report that we've saved. Then we'll hit next. We'll do the setup. So this is where you're actually going to create the custom content inside of Ezlynx. It is HTML, so if you guys are familiar with that language, you can create that here, or just simply write your message, add pictures or source content, or change the formatting, anything that you want to there. Our marketing specialist, Kelsey, she's really savvy at this. If you need some help with that, you guys can always reach out to her. She is our only in-house marketing specialist, so she is quite busy. So if she doesn't respond right away, that's okay. There are also video tutorials. Jason showed you guys a really great YouTube channel for Ezlynx. So take a look at that if you need some help with this. But also, more than anything, they have custom templates inside of Ezlynx already created for you. So if you wanted to do an inactive lead, or we talked about doing a birthday campaign, we can have this content already set up for us. So this will take whatever the recipient's first name is and send it and personalize it right to them. So they all have all kinds of different templates, different designs, different content that you can add into it. So play around with this function. Take a look at all that it has to offer. I think you'll find some really good stuff in there. You can take a look at all this stuff. You can also schedule it out. So if you wanted to schedule out multiple campaigns, maybe you wanted to do, let's say you wanted to reach out to your clients, 6 times every year, you can take one day and schedule that all out. You can set one up for a birthday campaign, an insurance review on their anniversary date of becoming a client with you. That's a really great opportunity. And maybe if you wanted to send out a seasonal campaign once every season, that's 6 times a year that you've already reached out to your client and bring proactive as an engaged agent. So you can schedule those all out for future dates, or you can send it now. You can also send yourself a test email campaign. Obviously, you might want to see a test of what you've created sent to yourself before you send it out to all your agents. So send that test, take a look at it, make sure everything looks good, and then schedule those all out to be sent. Really, another great way too, if you feel like you're stumbling around or you feel like you're not quite getting something, what I always recommend doing is keep an eye out for these video help icons. This is really helpful, especially when we made our conversion from Hawksoft to Ezlynx. These video help icons were great. They're going to actually be specific to whatever page you're on. So you can schedule a birthday campaign or schedule a campaign for multiple recipients. They're just quick little snippet videos to help you out. So always be on the lookout for those. Communication center too. So we also talked about text messaging. You can text your clients right from Ezlynx. It's a little bit confusing too. So that function for texting your clients is separate from the texting notification that you'll get in the agency workspace. You can set that will be sent to whatever phone number you have on file with Ezlynx that you can change in your settings. Your preferences and your contact info. The texting feature that's client facing will actually be a phone number that is set up through Ezlynx. So if we go to our voice and text under our communication center, we'll see our assigned number. If it's disabled, you will need to contact Ezlynx and get that enabled so you can start texting your clients. You'll get notifications when they're being texted. And the way that you do it too, so let's go back right to our client's profile. You can see this little text icon right here, and this is where you can send them a text message directly. So a really cool feature, that's becoming the future of communication styles, especially with younger generations. You can call them, 5 times in a row and they'll never pick up, but text them and they'll respond right away. So a really great feature there. You can even add multimedia. So if you wanted to send a video, that'll be really cool. Something to look forward to in the future of Ezlynx are actually texting campaigns. So instead of getting an email, you can actually do a whole campaign through text messaging. Ezlynx really has a lot to offer. It's very customizable. A lot of people don't use it for its full benefits, but the more you get in, the more you just play around with the system, jump on webinars, jump on the blog that they have. Take a look at all the different stuff that it can do. Take a look at all of your settings. I think you'll be surprised at all the different things that you can set up in your preferences, whether it be just if you want to see that sticky note or you want to see it fully expanded, how it entirely reads, how you want to see the quoting details, the quote scenario selections. If you hate that feature, you can get rid of it. It's totally customizable. You can set up your pre-filled information for your accord forms. You can do custom signatures. So again, take a look at your settings. Take a look at your reports. Take a look at the communication center. There may be some features that you're missing out on. You can also send postal mail. Ezlynx will, if you're old school and you want to send a welcome packet to your client through postal mail, you can set that up with them as well. Ezlynx also just introduced a MSB replacement cost estimator and property lookup directly in their quoting platform. That is an extra cost too. It's a few cents. I think it's about 40 cents per MSB lookup. But if that's something that you're interested in, let us know. You'll get an account set up so you can start running those right in Ezlynx. Especially if you don't have things like deck pages, or maybe you don't trust the prior agent and you're really having a hard time calculating that coverage A, that'll really help you out. Another thing they're going to introduce this year is MVR reporting directly in Ezlynx. We all know what a hassle it can be having a huge discrepancy in maybe what the Ezlynx is pulling on prior to those reports and what the finalized quote is inside of the carrier website. Ezlynx is a way to help kind of alleviate some of that burden, is to run MBRs right inside of their website. So be on the lookout for that feature. Be on the lookout for more automation coming into the system. So all kinds of great stuff there. Now you'll probably also see some additional features too. I am an admin for the account, so you might see the accounting feature and sales center, retention center. So if you don't have access to those, don't worry about that. Your principal agent will have all of your permissions set. If there's a function you think you're missing out on that you'd like to have access to, get with them. They'll reach out to us and we can maybe adjust those settings. Again, always take a look at this little support icon. See what's new, what's in their blog, what their training materials, webinars. The carrier library by state. Now that's another really helpful one too. So if you guys aren't familiar with this will, let's actually go to the home page. There's a carrier library by state, which will show you the entire matrix of all carriers that you can quote with inside of Ezlynx. So right here from the home page, this carrier library by state, it'll open up another tab. You can look up the line of business. Maybe I wanted to see all home carriers. In my state of Colorado, I'll select line of business and state. I'll leave carrier and option blank and just hit search. And this shows me all the home companies I can quote with in Ezlynx. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I have access to them in my agency. It is the entire matrix of Ezlynx. Again, you got your third-party links, your underwriting requests, which is a new feature, downloads, e-signatures, text messages, claims downloads, all kinds of stuff. Again, this video help icon too, Rating Engine 101, Management System, working in Internet Chrome versus Internet Explorer too. So always be on the lookout for those.